No, no, no. Young nigga never been with a good girl. No, no, no. Tell me how to live with a good girl. No, no, no. I don't wanna live it. I'll be fucking around with others. That's a hard record. You know what's crazy? Man? We got mad daylight out. I like it. It feels like we haven't had real daylight in a long time. And you're probably wondering what the hell does that even mean? But I live out in Seattle, Washington. We get fake daylight. Basically, we get where it's light out, but all you see is clouds, and then it has the potential to rain. But most days it doesn't really rain. And then when it does, it just be sprinkling. So it's not like the type of rain you think, but it's still rain. Take these damn glasses off, man. Put my eye drops in. Welcome to the show. Hold up. I be thinking about other girls when I'm They're probably gonna cut this. But you know what? And for some reason, I always gotta have my mouth open when I do that. That's weird. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm, and it all just, I don't be knowing. Anyway, good record. Shout out to my man Devvon Terrell, Aurora Borealis. That's the cut. Very short song. I wonder what verse 2 is going to be like. He just cut it early. Just gave us hella hooks and then like a verse, but it's still fire though. Welcome to the show. I'm only going to talk about a couple things, man. Right now, we got sports is going crazy. NFL trades are being made. Free agency is here. But we are also, and it's random because of COVID, we're also kind of in the same type of space with the NBA. Like we're approaching the trade deadline. So there's going to be a lot of moves that are going to be made. So I think if you are someone who is a sports fanatic, you will be excited for the rest of the NBA season to play out. We've got most teams have about 35 or less games. I think it's 33 or something like that for most people. And then if you are an NFL fan, be prepared because there's a lot of moves being made. Tampa looks like it could potentially repeat, but there are some teams that were looking like they were going to be in the hunt for Super Bowls, and then those teams, maybe didn't show up, but a lot of these teams are retooling. So Kansas City could potentially be back in the Super Bowl. Green Bay looks like they might really make a run at it. Drew Brees retired the other day. We're not going to talk much about that. Great quarterback, don't get me wrong. You did great, bro. You set all these records. You are one of the best of the best. You're in my top 25 all time. I'm not going to say where, but he's not top 10 for me, but he's no less than 17. So he's somewhere between 10 and 17 all time. You have to understand all time means everybody. So again, shout out to him, man. He's retired, but I ain't going to lie to you, Cuddy. I thought you should have retired 3 years ago. Look, the way that your arm looked, it looked like you retired about 3 years ago, but for some reason, you just kept showing up to the stadium and they kept letting you play the games. You were still very efficient. Do not get me wrong, but you were a shell of yourself. Still a good player. Don't get me wrong. Still a good player. But a team like New Orleans potentially can play for a Super Bowl. But the thing that they needed last season was a better quarterback. And they needed more output from their number one receiver that they paid all this money to. So Michael Thomas needs to not punch his teammates and needs to stay healthy, stay on the field. And then you probably can win a Super Bowl, even with a turnover machine like Jameis Winston. New Orleans has an opportunity now. Don't waste your time trying to get Russell Wilson. I think that's a bad move. And Seattle fans, listen, I'm gonna tell you my dream scenario for y'all's team. Seattle calls Chicago right now, and they offer Russ, and in return they get Khalil Mack, 2 first-rounders, and Nick Foles. And then you flip the Nick Foles trade, part of the trade, to get Ryan Fitzpatrick. Then you use one of those first-round picks from Chicago, even if it's late. You can get somebody late. And you bring another quarterback in who's young, and can be developed, and you have him sit behind Fitzpatrick or somebody like that, and you actually send your team back to where it should be, where you have an A1 defense, a really solid running game, are efficient and great on special teams, and the quarterback is the last thing you worry about. If y'all are trying to get to a Super Bowl, that's what I would do. Because you don't need this overpriced quarterback to lead you to the promised land. That's been proven that it can't be done. See your record for the last 4 seasons, and then tell me if I'm lying. All right, so before I get out of here, I'm going to spend about 5 or 10 minutes just kind of going in on... Oh my God, I ain't laughed this hard mad long. And that laugh sounds exactly like my mother. Jesus Christ. I love my mom, but now knowing that I have that weird ass laugh and it can come at me when something is hilariously funny, I don't know if I like that. But anyway, shout out to my mother, but definitely not shout out to this announcer. This guy's at the high school basketball championships. The women's. Shout out to these first. Let me get into it first. They won the game. So shout out to these ladies. They became state champions. Hell yeah. Shout out to all the ladies. It's Women's History Month. And then after I tell the story, I'm going to get into who I talked about with my kids today. Y'all are going to be, I hope you will enjoy the people that I bring up. And then maybe you'll go look up information on them too. It's pretty crazy. Buddy's at the game, right? He's the commentator, announcer, whatever, part of the production company. They go to take a knee during the national anthem, and then he's caught. He's caught on the mic, basically calling them racial slurs because he's upset that they took a knee. Now, before I get into why I think he's corny as hell, I want to make this clear for all of the white viewers who still do not seem to comprehend this. The kneeling is not a political stance, okay? It's not a fuck you to America. It's not none of that shit. They take a knee because we are protesting the injustice that happens against us very frequently. So I think I have salad in my teeth. I had salad before I started the show. When you see news reports of people being killed by police, and all of these types of things that happen to people of color with frequency. That's the thing. It's not just on occasion. It's with frequency, okay? Frequency. That's why they take the knee. It's not, again, it's not an FU to America. No one cares about your national anthem. We're not disrespecting none of that. We don't care about none of that. So, this white man he's upset because these girls took a knee before their basketball game. These are high school students. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being some very miserable, pissed off white man that when you see a group of females take a knee, it upsets you so much that you want to call them racial slurs. And then after you realize that the mic is still hot and that people can hear you, you have to provide an apology. Now, let me go to my saved items so I can read you said apology. This fucking guy. And the reason why I've been laughing is because some of this is just hard to believe. Like, it's hard to believe that either he wrote this or somebody wrote this for him. Either way, both people involved, anybody involved in setting this up for him is an idiot. So, this happened on March 11th. He said, I, Matt Rowan, on Thursday, March 11, 2021, most regrettably made some statements that cannot be taken back, During the Norman High School girls basketball game against Midwest City, I made inappropriate and racist comments, believing that the microphone was off. However, let me state immediately that that is no excuse. Such comments should have never been uttered. Maybe you're thinking, okay, he seems genuine. No. I'm a family man. I am married. I have 2 children. You know, I love when they bring that part up because why in the fuck does that matter? I don't give a shit if you can have 17 kids, bro. It doesn't matter what your setup is at home. All right. And at one time, I was a youth pastor. I can't believe that's real. But at the same time, he says, and I continue to be a member of the Baptist church. So at the now, I'm not surprised at all because this sounds like some shit that people at a Baptist church would do. And before you say anything to me, I will tell you that I went to a Baptist church as a young child, and I actually had situations with me and my family, with other families from our church, where they definitely called us the N-word. And then tried to be like, well, we're very Christian and we love all people except you N-words. Anyway, I have not only embarrassed and disappointed myself, I have embarrassed and disappointed my family and friends. And here's where it gets good. I will state that I suffer from type 1 diabetes, and during the game, my sugar was spiking. While not excusing my remarks, it is not unusual when my sugar spikes that I become disoriented. That's all I'm going to read. So again, anytime anyone has ever asked me, especially after they see this show and they see how hard I go when I rip these people to shreds after they make these mistakes, they're like, what is your problem? Do you have a problem with white people? Absolutely not. No. 100% no. I do not have a problem with white people. I have a problem with these white people. Because when you can get on and you can get frustrated, you saw something that you did not like in a moment, and in that moment, that one thing made you so mad that you decided to call these high school girls racial slurs. And then when it comes time for you to hold yourself accountable, you first try to get us to feel some sort of way for you. I'm married. I have 2 kids. I used to be a youth pastor. Again, all of these things don't mean nothing to me, homie. You being a youth pastor at your all-white church and your family, an all-white family, that don't mean nothing to me, bro. Shout out to you for being a family man. That's great. And at one point or another in your life, you were pretending to show other kids the way. But you still have hate in your heart because, again, you saw something that you didn't like. And rather than you could have said anything. You could have said anything. Here we go with the kneeling. Even that, maybe it's like, come on, bro. But at the same time, if you felt like you had to say anything, just say something small like that. But you don't do that. You start to call them names. You use racial slurs directed at them because you're witnessing them do something that they feel is important to help continue to raise awareness around something that happens to people in their community and people who look like them across the fucking world. It makes you mad. It makes your blood pressure rise. Oh my gosh, can you imagine what it's like to live a day in the life of a white man who can't stand to see women, people of color, the gay and lesbian community, trans people? Don't let any of these people be any different from this man because you'll have to witness him blow a freaking gasket. This guy says this, and then this is the best part, is when he goes into, I have type 1 diabetes. Again, just one more thing to try to get you on his side because it's too much for him to just be like, you know what? I fucked this up. I just fucked this up. He won't say that. It has to be all these excuses. Now, I'm not going to read it, but in the rest of the article, before he actually gets to the real apology to the girls, there's a whole little blurb where he talks about how he doesn't want his partner to get any flack for what happened. And my partner, he's this and he's that. He's so great. He didn't do anything. It was all me. Some of the people who were involved, I think there was some organization that is somewhat responsible for this, and they spoke out. And you know what they did? They fired the third party production company. So everybody on the crew got let go from this job or whatever the case may be because of Homeboy. Why didn't you just do something to him? Another part of the problem. Again, I go back to the fact that if you ask me, do you have a problem? No, I have a problem with these people. These types of men, they don't get held accountable. Someone allowed him to put out this statement where he doesn't hold himself accountable. He looks for every avenue possible to blame his hatred. Well, I mean, if the mic wasn't on and if I didn't have type 1 diabetes, I would have just called you niggers behind your fucking backs and you wouldn't have known it. And no one would have been the wiser, none the wiser. You know, however they use that phrase. That's exactly how they be thinking, bro. No, we don't have a problem with all white people because I know most of these people are allies. And they hate this shit too because this shit is embarrassing. You're not embarrassed by the fact that people who look like you do this on a daily basis, and then people who also look like you protect them on a daily basis when they make these mistakes? Could you imagine being affiliated with this type of cornery? I like that, cornery. Niggas is mad corny. I have type 1 diabetes and I've been known to become disoriented. That is crazy, cuz I know some people who have type 1 diabetes, and yeah, things tend to get a little bit different and the vibe kind of switches when the medication isn't being taken regularly or they decide that they don't need it. I get that. But bruh, you can't tell me that your diabetes made you use a racial slur directed at these girls. Just in that specific moment. That's not good enough for me. And that's not going to be something where I look at you and go, you know what? This is just an honest mistake. No, because everybody could hear it, even the people that you work with. And why do you feel comfortable enough to say that at your workplace? It's because y'all all say it. All of y'all probably say it all the time. That's the only reason why some shit like that can happen, is because your coworkers don't pay any attention to it. They laugh when they hear you say that type of shit. Oh, that's just Matt being Matt. Even you probably had one or two people, they're like, what? Isn't that kind of offensive? Should we not let him say that at the school? What if some kid overhears? Oh, don't worry about it, Betty Sue. That's just Matt. That's just how Matt talks. Remember, he used to be a youth pastor. There's no way he can be racist. There's no way he can be racist, right? And the only thing that's apparently made him racist is his type 1 diabetes, which is a huge slap in the face to anybody else who carries a disease like that, because you diminish what they go through by using that as an excuse for your hatred. You not getting no sympathy for me for having type 1 diabetes, Cuddy, because you're racist and you're a hater. I'm not going to wish no harm on you, but at the same time, leaving it at that. Matt Rowan, ladies and gentlemen, the sucker. And if you want to go look at the whole thing, he doesn't actually apologize to the girls until he's like 3 or 4 paragraphs in. He wrote about this much about himself and he wrote about that much for them. I hate to say it because I have friends who are white males, but listen, even if y'all see this, do you see what we're talking about, man? The people that look like you and walk around and talk like you, acting like you, they really believe that they are playing on a different type of field than everybody else. And they think they can say and do whatever it is that they want to. It's a problem with a lot of people, but it's a major problem with y'all. Y'all really feel like y'all are better than everybody. You don't have to hold yourselves accountable, but then you ask other people, again, people of color, women, gays, lesbians, trans, Asians, Latinos. You can go through the list, and white men are all like, you, and you, and you. You all have to follow these rules. But us, we get to do whatever the we want. Always and forever. They get to do whatever they want, bro. And then all they got to do is give you this type of apology. Myers Leonard gave the same type of bullshit ass apology. This remind me just of the Don Imus crap. Y'all remember when Buddy called them nappy-headed hoes? I mean, you think about the Rush Limbaughs of the world. Again, the Don Imuses, the Matt Rowans, all of these type of people who just think it's okay. And in a lot of these situations, you know who they're speaking down on? Women, bro. You talking that shit and all that to these females, bro? But y'all say that y'all are men. But you won't talk that type of shit to another man, especially not a man of color. Corny. The cornery. I love that. Oh, man. Again, no. I have a zero problem. I have a problem with these people because this is pathetic, bro. You should have just owned it. You got caught being you at work. That's it. You were you at work. And you got caught. It is what it is. If you lose this job and every job for a lifetime, you had that coming because you were trying to speak down on people purely from a place of hate. And we're not here for that shit. This ain't just saying a bunch of cuss words on a video blog. This ain't that, bro. This is you seeing something that you didn't like in a moment, something that you disagree with. And then rather than opening up a dialogue, even if it's after the game, you can go talk to the team if you really feel some type of way and ask questions. Why did you feel the need to do that? What is so important to you that you do this now? Do it for yourself to gain understanding, but that's not what you did. You opted to start calling them names, bro. Like, this is like kid bullshit. Oh, so-and-so won't let me play with so-and-so in the sandbox, so they're a little poopy head. But these MFs carry that into adulthood, and poopy head actually turns out to be some type of racial slur or some anti-Semitic comment. That's what these people do, man. Come on. Again, this ain't you calling somebody an asshole or a cunt nugget or something like that. This ain't that, all right? This is racial stuff, man. It's serious stuff. And even though I'm laughing because of all the cornery. Y'all can't be serious. Y'all still doing this in this day and age? Come on, man. And how dare y'all say that y'all are the superior, the smartest? Y'all can't even be racist without getting caught nowadays. You're not superior to anything. It's over. Just give it up. Stop being racist. Go to sensitivity training, seek some help, and watch my show tomorrow, man. I'm out.